What's going on, Sandbox MMA fans? There has been a lot of talk recently about UFC 306 this year, so I thought I would do a card builder video for this. I'm very interested to see what fights are going to end up being on there. There have already been a couple announced, and I have included it. I'm going to talk about a few things as this video goes on, but Dana talked about how the Sphere should be an excellent card. It's going to be very Mexican heavy. He mentioned 10 total fights. I'm up in that because there's 7 fights that have been announced for it, and it is not up to par with those 7 fights. I will be brutally honest. I'm going to go through what I think my card builder should be. If you haven't seen my UFC 305 card builder, you should see it. Unfortunately, not many fights ended up getting on there, but there were some fighters that lined up. Without further ado, we're going to get right into it. The UFC 306 The Sphere card builder. And for these videos, when I use PowerPoint, we go up there. Starting with the prelims, so a couple of fights have been announced. Yasmin Jauregui versus Caitlin Souza has been announced. I actually think as far as a women's MMA fight goes, it's going to be pretty technical. It's probably going to be a pretty good fight. You have Caitlin Souza, who swings very hard, very powerful, has decent striking, versus Yasmin Jauregui, who has a lot of point striking and very quick combinations. It'll be a fun fight, so I say if you open up the card with that, it's actually a pretty damn good fight to open up the card, especially when it comes down to the strawweight division. Next fight, this one has already been booked as well. Ode Osbourne versus Ronaldo Rodriguez. If you haven't heard about that one, it's been booked. I think that should be at the very early end of the card in the early prelims. Just 2 lower-level flyweights going to duke it out. Ronaldo Rodriguez is Mexican. Had a big win over Denise Bondar in his last fight. In Mexico City, so if he can get a second win here, it'd be big for his name. Again, I don't think either of these guys are that good, though. Another fight, we have Kevin Borjas versus Edgar Chairez. I actually think this is a pretty fun fight. Now, Kevin Borjas is the early prelim opener machine. He's the first fight on every single card, except this one. I think you should put him up a little bit, especially because he has a name that's bigger than some of these other guys here that have already fought. Borjas and Chairez can be a pretty fun fight. Borjas is always in a fun fight. He loses, but he's always in a fun fight, always brings it. And Edgar Chairez is a fun fighter as well, always very active. So you get another Mexican on the card versus another Latin American. I believe, I want to say he's from Peru. Maybe not Peru, but yeah, I think he's from Peru. So I think it would be a very fun fight between a Peruvian and a Mexican here. This is one that I added on here. You add Ishmael Bonfim and Daniel Zellhuber. Daniel Zellhuber has not been put on the card yet, and he is one of the Mexican favorite fighters. Lightweight, tall, lanky, but he's built as well, so I guess lanky isn't the word. He's a very tall, rangy striker who is very, very talented, super young. If you put him versus Ishmael Bonfim, these are 2 lightweights that are going to duke it out and start to continue to look up the rankings. I think this is a sick fight here. Ishmael Bonfim, Daniel Zellhuber really get some of these fights going. That one's a war. I would be very, very excited for that one. Irene Aldana versus Norma Dumont. Bantamweight fight. Winner's probably going to start to take a look at a title elimination bout. I'm sure if Norma Dumont wins, her name's going to go up there and she's going to end up fighting like a Mayra Bueno Silva or a Macy Chiasson. We love the cake on Norma Dumont. Always flexing it for the boys. Irene Aldana, pretty talented boxer, but she did just lose to Amanda Nunes, and then she had a great fight with Carol Rosa. So one more win, she probably gets into a title elimination bout again. I also added this fight on the card here. So this is the only other fight on here that hasn't been booked in terms of the prelims. It's Peyton Talbot versus Adrian Yanez. Adrian Yanez, Mexican-American, always has the crowd, is always in Texas. Great, great boxer, good competition at bantamweight, and this is a good step up in competition for Peyton Talbot. Somebody who's going to be able to stand on the feet with, strike with. Peyton Talbot had an easy win over Yanis Gamori. Yanis Gamori sucks, but he also beat Cameron Simon, and Cameron Simon is a very talented fighter. I believe Peyton Talbot also has one other win other than Cameron Simon in the UFC, and other than Yanis Gamori. But a next step up would be Adrian Yanez, and that gets you starting to look up close to those rankings. It's a great fight. 2 high-level strikers. Peyton Talbot, you want him on these big cards to grow his name. He has star potential. Peyton Talbot versus Adrian Yanez, as zesty as this may be, it's going to be a fun fight. Ignacio Bahamondes and Manuel Torres has been booked. If you don't know, Manuel Torres is an absolute Terminator. He has been awesome to watch. Always high intensity, high level finishes, submissions, KOs. This guy is a monster. Always puts on in front of the crowd. He saved the Mexico City card. He was the highlight of that card with a submission over Chris Duncan. It was a sick attack from the get-go. And Ignacio Bahamondes is coming off a crazy finish against Christian Yagos as well. So Ignacio Bahamondes, Chilean versus a Mexican, and Manuel Torres. We get to keep this Latin American, and it's a very fun high-level lightweight fight. So keep an eye out for that one. That will probably be either the prelim headliner or co-headliner. Depends on what Raul Rosas and Enrique Long has happened. So if Raul Rosas is on the pay-per-view, I think it's going to be a little bit of a disgrace because he's not facing good enough competition for pay-per-view, in my opinion. But I think this is a walk-up, an easy layup, walk in. I don't know. I just Curtis Blades that sentence. What? That's mean. I'm sorry, guys. It's mean, but it's funny to see because Curtis Blades is a badass and he's a crazy stutter, which... Honestly, I'm a big fan of Curtis Blades, but it is sometimes funny to see because I kind of just did it. But anyway, Raul Rosas versus Enrique Long. It should be a quick win for Raul Rosas. Should be able to get a quick submission. Enrique Long is gritty. He's tough. But I think Raul Rosas is just going to absolutely dominate him in the grappling. They put it on this card, and I think it was a good one to make. So, Raul Rosas versus Enrique Long, headlining the prelims. Good way to do it. Build this kid's name more. Now we get to the main card. And Michel Pereira versus Anthony Hernandez has already been booked. Really fun fight. Two dark horses at middleweight. Pereira finishing everybody in front of him in 2 minutes or less. Anthony Hernandez dragging everybody into deep water. This fight either ends in a first-round finish for Michel Pereira, or it gets to round 2 and 3, and Anthony Hernandez will probably get a submission. We'll see. Sick fight. Two high-level competitors. I wanted to see both these guys get a bigger shot up in the rankings, but it unfortunately didn't go that way. They have to fight each other. Anthony Hernandez, Michel Pereira is a sick fight. Next up on the card, I want Diego Lopez and Yair Rodriguez. I think Ortega's going up to 155, and I don't think it's going to go any other way. I think Ortega will go up to 155, and I think he's going to end up staying up there for a while. He could have some success. You saw Daniel Cormier talk about it with Oliveira going up and having success. Max went up and had success. Poirier went up and had success. So you're seeing some of these guys can go up to lightweight and have some success. I think that Ortega is going to continue to go down that path and just say bye to featherweight. That means that the next Mexican featherweight on the card is Yair Rodriguez. He's got to be on this card. I've heard some rumors and reports that he may not be on this card, but he should. The UFC should do everything they can to get him on there, and he needs to fight down in competition. He lost to Volk in a title fight, and he lost to Ortega right after that. Diego Lopez deserves his jump up the rankings. He was supposed to fight Ortega, ended up fighting Dan Ige, and won. Went all different kinds of weight classes to do it. Weighed in at 45, 55, 65, or 62 and a half, whatever they ended up being, and goes in there and beats Dan Ige in a really tough competitive fight. Give him Yair Rodriguez. You owe him one, and Yair's got to fight down. So Yair Rodriguez, Diego Lopez, that is an electric fight and helps round out that main card. The feature fight on the card. Legends fight. Henry Cejudo, Jose Aldo. Give Jose Aldo a jump up in competition here. And when I say jump up in competition, he's fought the best of competition, but he just beat Jonathan Martinez, is ranked like 8 now. I think Cejudo's ranked 5. Aldo should be ranked above Chito Vera because he's beaten him, so I don't like what the UFC did to him there. But now you've set up a scenario in which you can have Mexican-American Henry Cejudo versus Brazilian Jose Aldo as the feature fight on this card. 3 rounds. You could make it 5 rounds, I would watch. It would be fucking awesome. But if you make this fight happen, it helps round out that card like crazy. Jose Aldo, Henry Cejudo, this is the fight to make. Co-main event, Grasso Shevchenko 3. It should be this. Now, Valentina has said she doesn't want to fight on the Sphere card, and how can I blame her? They're going to give it a Grasso if it's even close of a decision. They did that last UFC Noche. They're going to do it again this time. But Valentina still has the ability to go out there and get a finish whenever she wants. Grasso also has the ability to do so. It's the fight to make it flyweight. They're the 2 best flyweights. It ends the trilogy. Make it happen. It's Mexican Independence Day. It finishes tough. If Tina does not want to step in there and fight on this card and she waits to fight later this year, at some point next year, you can do Grasso versus Fierro. that's the next fight to make. She is the next contender. If Rose is more willing to take it on short notice, you can do Rose, but it's probably Fiaro's deserving shot. Anyway, we're going to get to the main event because we know that this fight is likely going to be on there, but it looks like it's Sean O'Malley and Merab Dvalishvili as the main event. Now, if we get Merab and Sean as the co-main event and Ilya versus Max as the main event, I would be ecstatic because that means at Salt Lake City, someone else is going to have to fight on that main card. It's either going to be McGregor Chandler or it's going to be Poatan. He might go in there and he might fight on that card. It would be fucking awesome. But I think it's going to be Sean Merab as the main event here. Sick fight. The fight that everyone wants to see at bantamweight. Most deserving title challenger other than Corey Sandhagen. I mean, Merab and Corey both deserve to be title challengers. Cheeto just kind of lodged in the division by having the right call out. But Merab versus Sean is the fight to see. And then the winner of Umar versus Corey is going to be next. I think Corey's going to beat Umar. I'm telling you guys right now. I think he's going to get a Leskarov, get finished. Because I don't think Umar's as good as everyone thinks he really is. He's a very good fighter. He's a top 10 talented bantamweight, sure. But I don't think he's better than Sandhagen, Merab, or Sean O'Malley. I actually don't even think he's better than Jose Aldo. So let's do Merab versus Sugar Sean O'Malley. That's the fight to make. This is the UFC 306 card builder. We will make one for Salt Lake City once this card gets fully announced. I will immediately make one for Salt Lake City. I like to do these card builders. If you enjoy them, please like and subscribe, and I will continue to do more of them. But everyone get excited. UFC 304 is this weekend. We're pulling for Bilal Muhammad. I can't believe I'm saying it. We're pulling for Bilal Muhammad. I think he'll be more active than Leon Edwards, which is crazy to say. We're obviously pulling for Tom Aspinall and then have a quick turnaround to get another win against like Jalton Almeida and just show Gane that he doesn't get the title fight if he's not going to fight anyone. And show John Jones that he can turn around and defend an interim belt twice before John Jones can go defend his heavyweight title once. It forces John's hand. 304 is awesome. You got Patty versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green, not King Green. I'm not calling him King Green. That's fucking stupid. It's dumb. It's annoying. You got Arnold Allen on the card against Giga Chikadze. You got CLD and G-Rod. You have Manel Kape, Muhammad Makayev. Sick card coming out, UFC 304. Make sure you're tuning in to watch it. And again, if you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. It helps the page a lot.